can be an ally. We can
Oh, for
support
sure.
Asian American, especially small businesses. That is a huge way to be an ally because a lot of people did stop supporting
Yeah,
Asian businesses, which is ridiculous. This whole thing is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, you,
it's beyond.
yeah. So let's just set aside how like messed up it is, right? The fact that Asian Americans have to now fear for their life because the spewing of anti-Asian rhetoric by like former president, and yeah, let's just set that aside. How messed up that is, right? I just want to touch on this first. Why would you actively seek out like harming somebody by touching them if you're afraid of a virus? Okay, I don't think people understand how viruses work. Why would you go out of your way to expose yourself, quote unquote, because obviously it's not an Asian thing. It's literally,
Yeah.
if anything,
And everybody
yeah,
thing.
and everybody thing, like, you can get it literally from anyone. Why would you actively seek it out? That's the first thing. And I want to explain what a virus is. So a virus is something you can get from anyone. Like, anyone can have a virus. You can literally get it from your cat. Like, you can get a virus from anywhere. From surfaces.
You can get bird flu? Hello, that was a thing. Swine flu? That was also a thing.
If you are going to blame anyone for a virus, I want to talk about Americans' fault of kind of spreading the viruses, right? Not even COVID in general, because we did a shitty job with that, but
Awful, but yes.
a different one. Yes, just absolutely awful job with COVID and getting it under control. But the fact that the way we are the largest producers of like livestock, and the way we do it is so wrong. Is so wrong in so many levels, because we have all of these animals in really close contact with each other, and they are just spreading disease and viruses and all kinds of things amongst themselves, and then we eat that. So, I mean, if you're really worried, and the U.S. was kind of the founder of the way we, like, hold our livestock now. It's like the norm now around the world, but the U.S. really was the one that blew that up. And we do produce the most meats and everything. So if you're really going to blame anyone for crazy amount of viruses and just diseases, it would be that. So that being said, that doesn't even have to do with the situation that it's just, I wanted to really emphasize that, because this is ridiculous. Like, that we would blame a group of people when it literally could have came from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It literally could have came from anywhere.
And I think, like, most of our topics, most of what we talk about here on this episode, people will always find it easier to blame a more vulnerable party than to actually take accountability for the situation. You know, kind of like a lot with what's been happening throughout this pandemic. The U.S. hasn't really taken a lot of accountability, like, barely, if any, at all. You know, so it's like, it's easier to put it on, yet again, another marginalized group of Asians and the overall Asian Americans. So it's just like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I suppose that these people are also in vulnerable positions as well, too, because it's just like, some people love and trust America so much. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be grateful for where you live or that you shouldn't have trust in anything. But some people just believe in so much, like, what we're fed, that you eventually just become conditioned to it, and it's become your normal thing. You know, it's your normal way of thinking. So it's like, if you're somebody who followed our former president and you believed what he had to say very dearly, then there you go, right there. You just, like, that doesn't justify it at all. That doesn't justify the people who are attacking Asian Americans, but it definitely inspired them, and I think it's just awful.
Oh yeah, I think it's important to really be critical, and to be a little bit more of you want to be critical. You want to really think through especially the media you're consuming, the people that you are listening to, just all kinds of things. I feel like you have to be an active participant in getting your news and in doing all of that. So, but we're getting off topic. Pretty much, I wanted to hit on that, but I do want to hit on how we can help the Asian American community, because there's many ways we can help, and a lot of them, like, are so easy. Like, we can literally just support their businesses, for one. I think is super important. Like, spreading, like, the Stop Asian Hate hashtag, that would be really helpful. Like how we did for Black Lives Matter. I think that same exact energy should be put into this. And I think it's important to also mention that if it's one marginalized community being attacked, even if you don't belong to this community,
oh, for sure,
it is affecting everyone. If we are attacking one group of people, it affects everyone, especially if you're in a different marginalized community, because it can literally be you next week. Do you know what I mean? Like, not that we should have, like, another reason to not be a hateful person or to not, but that also, like, you're just going with a system. If you're not speaking out about this, you're just going with a system that oppresses people, right? So I think it's so important, and the fact that all of these people, like, are doing nothing, and the fact that they're doing nothing wrong, like, they're just living their lives, and the people that they're targeting are the elderly and the people who are, like, you know, who can't necessarily fight back a lot of the time, and there's language barriers there. So a lot of times, like, we don't even know the number of attacks on Asian Americans, because a lot of them aren't reporting because they can't, or they feel like they won't listen, you know, or nobody will listen. But there are, and we're gonna put on the blog, there are, like, organizations and really great activists who are trying to fix that, especially helping people report hate crimes and everything, because knowing that they are real, that they are happening, and to the extent that they are happening is very important, because we need to be reporting more about this. Like, I am surprised the increase is wild. Like, it's like 1,000%. And we can put an actual percentage, like, there's actual, like, data, right? But from what I saw, it's like over 1,000% higher since the virus appeared. So, obviously, another way we can help, I do want to mention that neither of us are Asian American. So we can't really speak on the stories so much, like, from a personal perspective. We are just pretty much just reporting what stories we can from the actual people experiencing it, right? But I think it's important for allies to amplify the voices of those Asian Americans, right? Or just Asians in general. It is not our job to personally give the stories, because we're not experiencing them, but sharing the stories, like, sharing their voices, amplifying their voices is what we can do. Like retweeting, reposting for them, I think it is a huge help. So, because they don't get it from news sources. There isn't as much reporting on Asian hate crimes as there are for, like, if this was happening in a different community, right? There would probably be more reporting depending on the community itself. But since it's such a, like, marginalized community here especially in the US, it's, you know, it's tougher to get the news out there. So if you're an ally, if you want to be an ally, if you want to help, I think that is a huge help. Just being able to help amplify their voices.
I agree 100%, and I definitely like the part that you said about, you know, giving the same kind of energy to this that we gave to the Black Lives Matter movement, you know, because it's like, at the end of the day, like, we are a community and we need to show up for each other whether we're a part of that community or not. And I think that alongside amplifying the voices, supporting businesses, supporting these organizations, you know, I think that we can also educate ourselves and continue to educate ourselves. And not only in the sense about, like, what these people experience and what they have to go through. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we can educate ourselves as much as we want, but we will never be the person that's experiencing it. As well, I think just, you know, educating ourselves on how a fucking virus works and how that whole thing works and understanding the difference between rhetoric and fact.
Yeah.
So
it's really like, it is something to be concerned about. A virus is something to be concerned about.
100%.
But we are putting the energy, or not us, right? But people who are doing these hateful things are putting their energy in the wrong place. Like, if you're really fearing this virus, right? First thing you can do, obviously, is protect yourself, right? Social distance, you know, wear a mask, spread the CDC guidelines if you're really concerned about the virus, right? If that's really what you're concerned about. Secondly, you can educate yourself on how viruses work, and then educate yourself on how viruses are spread
and transmitted.
And yeah, I recommend looking into like meat production, if that's really something that you're.
Dylan has documentaries. Oh my god, we should start a thing called Dylan's Documentaries. A little tag.
I do love my documentaries.
Your little docus, but yes, back to what you're saying.
My little docus, yes. Yeah, educate yourself. Hello. And then also, I think it's important to mention that Asian Americans and Asians should not be educating you on
no!
Like, if they don't feel that if they do not, like, do that, if they don't educate you, it's not their job to. You need to go out of your way to, like, look up stories. Talk to your Asian American friends, but
take initiative.
Answering, yeah.
Get consent.
If you're comfortable asking them questions about their experiences, don't expect them to all want to, because it's a personal. You know we don't know how necessarily it's affecting each individual. So not everyone is going to want to talk to you about it, and that's totally fine. We need to respect people in that way. It is not their job to educate you. You can find resources yourself, okay?
Yeah.
Baby. And there are people who will want to talk to you. So just ask for consent. And don't if there are things they're not comfortable mentioning, that's totally fine. And also, just be a supportive friend.
Yeah.
Like, in every aspect, like, come on, we're decent humans here. Like, just go out of your way to just make sure your friends are all right, even if they aren't Asian American. Just everyone in general, just be a decent human. There you go. That is where I want.
And to end this, before we jump onto our perks, I just want to say, your willful ignorance is no one else's responsibility. You should be the one that takes initiative and take accountability, because you're not anybody else's responsibility at the end of the day. Just putting that out there. But with all this damper news, I hope that people learn from our irks and, you know, aren't just taking it as like, we're here because we're angry. It's like, our goal is for you to learn from the irks and be educated.
I think within those irks, there were perks.
Oh, yeah.
There are people, like, with the last story that we mentioned, I mean, there are so many activists.
Behind each irk, there are activists, allies. Like, people are standing behind you.
Yeah, and we want to just mention that we are here for you as well.
Yes,
like,
babies.
In any way we can support, any, you know, if we have any Asian American listeners, we'd love to amplify your voice. So by, you know, retweeting you, whatever we can do. Whatever you can do to
You got a small business? Share it. We'll share it on the podcast.
Yeah, we'd love to. Okay, so there are a few stories. Okay, I have some pop culture.
We love some pop culture moments. Hello.
Okay, so first things first.
I'm the realist.
The Golden Globes were recent. As of
yesterday. Well, our yesterday, right?
Yeah. I know. I don't know exactly what day this is going to come out. So the Golden Globes were at some point, right?
Happened in February, yeah.
And in February, yes. Chadwick Boseman, he won He won. He got won a Golden Globe, which is